everybody, and welcome back to Inside Keedra's Kitchen. Listen, I understand that you could be doing anything else. You could be watching someone else, but instead you chose to come with me inside my kitchen, and for that, I am grateful. So welcome back. Today, I have my special guest, playwright and scholar Amina McIntyre, Queen Amina McIntyre, and she is going to be joining us while we make some lemon bread. Can't wait for that. All right, so Amina, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Good. I'm excited that you are here. We start every episode with a beverage.
Hey.
So inside Keedra's Kitchen, I do a lot of juicing. So today we have beet, carrot, apple, ginger.
Right.
Cold pressed juice. It was pressed this morning, and it's really good.
Can't wait to try it.
Let's try it.
All right. Oh, do we toast first?
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome inside Keedra's Kitchen.
Yeah, you all want some of this. This is great.
It's really good. So one thing I love about beets, the beet juice is really good. However, I am attracted to the color of it.
Yes.
It's such a robust color. It's so beautiful. Like, that's what just attracts me to beet juice. So I love it. Yeah. And I'm going to take some more.
Go ahead, please. Because I already had my 2 sips, so you got to catch up.
And I add a little bit of mint sprigs in there, so give a little extra flavor. Okay, so we're going to start off making our lemon bread. We're going to do, and I have to get some, see, I got the milk. I have to get some powdered sugar. I'll get that in a few minutes for our glaze. But, girl, this is really informal. I may answer my phone if I need to. But it's really informal, nothing formal. I'm just going to cook and talk. So we're going to start off by, okay, here are our ingredients. I have some milk. I have lemons, sugar, granulated sugar, flour, eggs, butter, vanilla, baking soda, and baking powder, and some salt. Now, here's the thing. Whenever we're baking, you want to make sure your milk and your eggs and your butter are all room temperature. You never want to do it straight out the refrigerator. Always want to let them sit out for a few hours, even the milk, until it is room temperature, okay? So, unfortunately, we don't have any plugs up here. So we're going to have to use the hand blender back here. But what we're going to do, you can grab that bowl. We're going to start off using the hand blender to, is it? No, it's not even any up there either. Okay. Well, we're going to start off using the hand blender. And we are going to put in, I believe that is a half a cup of butter. With the hand blender, we're going to whip this butter up until it is nice and fluffy. And then we're going to add our granulated sugar. So, if you guys don't mind, don't leave. Matter of fact, I'm going to insert a commercial right here for you guys. And we'll be right back when we finish whipping this butter up.
Hi, my name is Amina McIntyre, and I'm a playwright and scholar. You can find me at ladylovesherpen.com. I write for contract. I also have my own plays. I have books including devotions such as 30 Days of Peace and Praise, Living Right, and the Angels Academy Trilogy, which are perfect for church drama series. I also write for stage and develop prayer rooms and spaces. So if you are looking for a journey or for something to kind of help develop yourself, or even wanted to learn a little bit about playwriting, come follow me at www.ladylovesherpen.com and Lady Loves Her Pen everywhere social media is.
Okay, everybody, so we have the butter and the sugar mixed up. Now we're going to incorporate the egg. We're going to do 1 egg at a time. And Amina, you can take this back and go ahead and blend it up and then come back and I'll give you another egg.
That's perfect.
Alrighty. While Amina, can you hear me okay? Okay. While Amina is doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I have some milk here. And I'm going to put the recipe down in the description so you'll have all the measurements, okay? But I have the milk. I'm going to put the vanilla in there, and I'm going to end up cutting up some lemons for some lemon juice. I have the flour. I'm going to add the baking soda, and baking powder to the flour. And then I have some salt, and I'm going to add some salt to the mix, okay? Bam. All right, so in the meantime, I'm going to juice some lemons or squeeze some lemons. Take that back. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do some lemon zest. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take this lemon. I've already washed these lemons off, and I'm just going to zest them. Before I add any more ingredients, then I am going to add this to that. Okay, you're good, Amina. You're good. So go ahead and add this egg. And then after this egg, we're going to add the lemon zest. So to get some good flavor, I am going to zest 3 lemons. Okay, that's good. Okay. Yeah. All right, Amina. Perfect. So we're just going to let that sit for a second while I zest these lemons. Good. All right, Amina, so tell us how you got, okay, so when did you get started in playwriting, and what made you get started in playwriting, and how you got started in playwriting?
Yeah.
So just tell us your story, your whole beginning story.
Sure. So it's I came to theater late. So a lot of my friends got into theater when they were like elementary, middle, high school. I went to college and ended up in a play at some point, and ended up being like.
What'd you go to college for?
I ended up went to college for anthropology.
Actually. Oh, okay.
And I considered doing theater a little earlier in the time, but I was just like, yeah. So what jobs am I going to get? Because I was like, oh, I'll go and be an anthropologist. If I do anthropology, I can go and go into higher education. I could go teach, and so that was kind of the idea more than anything else. When I got into my master's program. I did my master's in African American Studies. I studied abroad in Paris for the summer. Okay. And during that time, I was like, I'm going to write about Paris Noir. I'm going to talk about Black people in Paris and this experience that I had.
Let people know what Paris Noir is.
Oh, yeah. So Paris Noir is the Black presence in Paris. And so a lot of people don't realize that Black people have a very rich history in Paris. So we're talking Africans of the Francophone Africans. So like Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and a lot of those particular countries. And then the Caribbean, so we're talking like Guadeloupe and Martinique. And then African Americans. A lot of people think about like the jazz. Du Bois actually spent some time. Langston Hughes spent a lot of time. Chester Himes, Richard Wright, Jim Baldwin. So
let people know who Du Bois is, because some people might not know.
W.B. Du Bois, who wrote The Souls of Black Folks. Josephine Baker, notoriously became an entire, just kind of like a French icon. And just was really lived there. And so there's such a rich, so if you ever get a chance to go to Paris, don't just go to the Eiffel Tower, go to like Montmartre and go to like some of the other places and look up the Black walking tours, because there are these Black walking tours. You can go and find all kinds of great information. That would be a great place for you to take one of your food tours, by the way.
Of course, so, yes. And I do plan on going to Paris because I want some food from over there.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. So yeah, and their bakeries are
French food.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, but when I got back from this experience, I was like, well, I can't write just a scholarly paper because I had experienced so much. I just felt like it was so hypersensory. I'm walking places and hearing things and going to concerts and seeing plays and going to
just doing wonderful.
We were just doing everything. It was just such a wonderful program. And then during this time, I went to a play. And at the play, it was a version of A Raisin in the Sun, and they were cooking eggs on stage. And I was like, I need to be a playwright. And I was like, at least.
What about that made you say I need to be a playwright?
It was really more, the only way that I can express the story is with all of these extra elements. And a play does that. And so if you go into a theater now, things are tangible. You can hear things, you can smell things, you can feel things, even more than film.
Activating your senses.
Absolutely. And it's that idea of very often when you go to a play, when you leave, you remember the feelings that you felt, the people who were there. No two play experiences are the same because it's always going to be a different audience, it's always going to be a different feel. And so I know I wanted to write a play, and I think it probably took me a couple of years later on to be like, oh, no, let me actually try this. So I went and got my MFA in playwriting. So
what is the MFA?
It's a Master's of Fine Arts.
Okay.
And it is, I mean, it's been really the highest professional degree you can get in playwriting.
Oh, okay, nice.
So there are a couple other degrees you can get, but for the most part, most people get an MFA in playwriting.
Okay.
And those persons who get that typically are teaching the basics and learning the theories behind plays. But this all started like about 2004, really in 2005.
Okay.
Is when I wrote my first plays. My first plays were it's kind of like when you first start to cook. My first plays were like really, really bad batter.
Hold on, wait a minute. When I first started to cook, my food was still good. Okay.
You are novelty. So I mean, I look at some of my old plays and I'm like, I had a really good idea for a story, and it wasn't working right.
Whip this real quick so we can add this lemon zest.
It already smells great. Like
You already smell it?
Yeah, like they're not all together yet, but it's like right here. It's like
So I know I said I was doing 3 lemons. I wanted a little bit of more extra lemon flavor, so I went on ahead and I zested 4 lemons. Okay, and so you can keep on, and I'm going to stir this before I add the rest of the ingredients.
absolutely. I mean, but after that, I was like, well, let me at least. I figured if I had the MFA, I could at least teach some things. I mean, but I just found that I loved being in the theater, so I would, be doing day job work and got into ministry and everything. It still was just like, well, I'd rather be in the theater right now, or I want to see how I could do both. And so for a minute, I couldn't figure out how to, because I didn't really do the traditional, I'm a theater artist and go to one of the traditional schools. It was more of how do I still use and sharpen my theater skills in order to develop the work that I want to develop or tell the stories I want to develop. And so I started writing plays for my church.
Okay.
But I wouldn't do here's a skit today. We would really have full-on rehearsal processes. If you go to my church now, they're just like, yeah, we remember you would have us like rehearsing for like a month and a half for a show. I'd be like, yes, because you rehearse
Right.
for a show, or you really write it. And I would have people actually really read the scripts and make it so that it actually felt real. And so it just kind of became something that I ended up doing more of a hybrid of. And so I started getting commissions in theaters and started doing some apprenticeship work. So I actually get quite a few. The majority of the work that I do is actually commission based.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple theater companies that'll just kind of hire me out, especially if they're doing. Especially if they're doing just special projects or doing just specific monologues or things that they're using for professional work. I've actually had, I have a couple in the city of Atlanta, I have a couple monologues that are in permanent exhibits at museums.
Oh, nice. So, very nice.
Yeah. So I mean, it's and I've had like plays actually produced in theaters as well.
Nice.
But that's really kind of how it goes. I've done a lot of different kinds of theater, which I think is the most exciting part. It's like I've done everything from writing for church to writing for outdoor spaces to writing for indoor spaces to writing for just professional development, and to just also doing our own, and also just writing for the production that you see if you go to a theater.
Okay.
The theater happens everywhere, so
you
just write for all the things that happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So quick pause on that right quick. So what I did is I juiced up 3 tablespoons of lemon. Basically I just took 2 lemons, I squeezed them out, and I added it to the milk. Accidentally added some to this sugar butter mixture, but hey, it's gonna be all good still. It's all going to the same place. Okay?
It's gonna be amazing.
So this is, like I said, this is the salt and the baking powder, the baking soda, and flour. So I'm just gonna add half of this. I mean, if you wanna add, we can stir that up.
Sure.
Get in there, girl. Don't be afraid of it.
I'm not. Just trying to fold it over. Try not to, Yeah, I wear black because I'm part of theater.
Okay.
But you know, white flour likes to
Understood.
stick on black things.
Understood.
I love it. There we go.
All right, and then so I'm going to pour all of this milk and vanilla mixture.
There we go.
Got it? All right. I'm going to pour this in there. I'm going to pour, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you can.
I'm going to pour all of it.
There we go.
Yeah, go ahead and get it all incorporated. All right, and then I'm going to add the rest of this flour in there.
I love this because I feel like it's either going to taste like either a lemon hit or a lemon drop.
Yeah.
More like a lemon drop.
True. Smells so good. We have our TV bread in the oven, and that smells really, really good.
Like this whole corner right here,
Mm-hmm.
I wish you all could like smell and taste it. It's, reminds me of theater. Here you go.
How?
Well, that's I think especially how I came to it because I feel like for me there's so many. First of all, there's so many different moving parts that make up theater. I mean, everyone thinks about just the actors typically or the director, but you wouldn't have a script without a playwright. You wouldn't have a light without a light designer.
Yeah.
You don't have a stage manager. The shows probably are going to have people all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think so for me. It just kind of reminds me of that, but it's like when everything kind of comes together, you can see kind of the parts starting to form, but right when that performance happens, all of a sudden you're just like, yep, you can see it, it's working, it's absolutely beautiful. And then you know that the audience and whoever in this case is going to taste it is going to also kind of bring their own perspective, and our lives will be dramatically changed as a result of it. So
I can see how that could be correlated. So you want to taste it?
Sure.
Alrighty. Go ahead and taste. Always taste your food.
It's weird because you would think because it has so much sugar in it, and it would be more bitter than it is, but it's really not.
Nope. All right. I'm just gonna scrape this now. You wanna go ahead and spray that. Alrighty. Alright, and then we can go ahead. Oh, get the sides.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, I got the other.
That's good.
That's the one that I missed.
That's good. Here we go. Where's that? Oh, looking for the spatula and it's
It's
right
right there in
here.
the bowl.
Gonna tip that over. Okay, and then you can go ahead. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more because it was good. And
It's really tasty.
when I was a kid, my dad used to give us cake batter to eat when he make a cake. So I'm gonna, while I taste my bread batter, go ahead and pour that in there.
Awesome. My mom was like that too because my mom likes to bake, and so we would get the mixers and the I think we would all argue over the spatula because the spatula had the most on it. Hold on, let me reposition the bowl here.
Here, let me hold it for you.
Thank you. That would be perfect. I'll say we're not breaking any bowls here in Keedra's kitchen. Say I am just a guest. I want to go home with my good bread. So now, did your dad teach you how to cook, or how did you get into cooking?
I like to eat. Plain and simple. I like to eat, and my aunt Tracy can cook really, really good. And so I was always calling Aunt Tracy for recipes because I loved her food. And I loved eating her food. And and some of my friends from college, one of my friends, she had moved here. Let me see. She had moved here to Atlanta, and we had went out to eat. And she was like, "Remember you were cooking whole chickens back in college and telling everybody to come over and eat whole chickens and pans of macaroni, and who does that in college?" And I was like, you know what? You're right. I was cooking like big full meals and telling everybody, "Hey y'all, come over and eat." You know, so but mainly because I like to eat and I like to eat good food, and so just like, well, let me cook it. You know, you want the bowl? All right. All righty, we are back, and voila, our bread is done, our lemon bread. What I'm going to do really quickly before we get back to talking with Amina, I'm going to make some glaze. I have a cup of powdered sugar. I have a tablespoon of milk, and I will have a tablespoon of lemon juice. Okay, this is a glaze. I actually am not going to put the glaze on top of the bread because Amina has an allergy, and she said she was going to tell us about the allergy.
Yeah, it's fun cooking with me.
It is fun cooking with you, actually. But go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I in my 20s I actually developed allergies and sensitivities to a variety of things. One of them being cow milk.
Okay.
And so, but when I was when I was growing up, I could eat everything. So I've had like everything that I can't have now. I've actually had. But it just started developing.
Do you miss the things that you can't have? Do you miss them?
Yes, absolutely. I think so. Some things, like for example, now, like when I first started my allergies, there weren't a lot. I mean, there were some milk alternatives that were not great. Now there are a lot more that are really amazing. But the only thing I think that I really miss of milk is like ice cream. Like really. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the non-dairy ice creams really just don't do it. I mean, every now and then you get a brand that is like, oh, this is as close to ice cream as I'm gonna get. But I love non-dairy ice cream. Do you really? Oh yeah. Oh man, it depends on the brand. Like now Magnum has like the non-dairy ones, so those are amazing. Yeah.
That's okay.
So edit them out. But there are a couple brands that do have some good ones, but most non-dairy ice cream, like now you might make your own non-dairy ice cream, in which case I would love to know. Yes. How you do it.
Ninja, I need you to send me one of those creamy machines so I can make some non-dairy ice cream
for me
on here on inside Keedra's kitchen.
I'll come back just for the occasion.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, but I have other sensitivities as well. But the biggest thing is just my body started changing as I got older, and I just realized that there were some things that I just couldn't have. Yeah, so it just and milk just being one of them. So I just have to be kind of careful around.
Gotcha.
Things. For me, I'm okay with things baked in, but not necessarily if it's like raw cold.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's get into this bread. Get back into Amina.
Yeah, and so he's just gonna have some glaze, and I'm just.
And I am.
I'm having naked bread.
All right. So you said you wanted an end piece.
I do.
So I'm going to give you this warm end piece.
Oh my gosh! You all should see like the steam just kind of coming off. This is amazing. I love it.
Alrighty. And then, I want an end piece too, but I also want this piece.
Oh yeah, but see that looks nice.
Yeah, I'll still get the crunch on the ends. Oh yeah, it's nice and warm. It's baked perfectly on the inside. And then I'm gonna take some of this glaze and just.
Come on, Glaze. I love it.
Girl, it's gonna be good. There we go.
See the benefits of sometimes having your glaze on the side. Extra drizzle.
Extra drizzle. Okay. Go ahead. Taste it.
Yeah. And I feel like this pairs really, really well with the juice that we chose. I'm like, take a little sip of this juice. It's great.
I get really excited when I eat food. This is really, really good because the edges have that crunch. That crunch is everything.
It is.
But then I got the piece that wasn't the end. I had to get some more crunch.
It's so moist.
It's so soft.
Like it's almost a cake. Almost.
On the inside.
It's okay if it's the whole thing on camera, right?
Oh, knock yourself out, girl. We've been going in. Should have been here for the jerk chicken salad sandwich.
Oh, goodness.
I take that back. It was vegan jerk chicken salad with fried green tomatoes on the sandwich.
Oh, my goodness.
Girl, we couldn't stop eating, could we, Deja? We would turn that thing up on camera, and I did not care who was watching me. Okay, it was so good. Both of us was throwing down.
I love it.
Okay, Amina, so any upcoming projects that you have coming out?
Yes, so I'll talk about some of the things that you can find from mine. First of all, you can find anything of mine at www.ladylovesherpen.com. I'm Lady Loves Her Pen, PEN, on everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. But I have a couple of books. So one is a book of devotions. And we talk about, Keedra and I talk a lot about faith off camera and other things, and just kind of how our paths have connected. But it's a book of devotions. It's called 30 Days of Peace and Praise. We also have 2 books that you can get that were of my church plays on Amazon, Living Right and the Angels Academy Trilogy, but you can also get them at ladylovesherpen.com. If you order them directly from Lady Loves Her Pen, then you're actually able to get an autographed copy from me if you specify. And otherwise, you can check in. I have a couple of commissions coming up, but otherwise, just check in on my website for the latest events, because there's often, as things kind of come up and change, I just try to keep some upkeep of what's happening.
So how often are you writing plays? I'm sure it has to be, what's the process to writing a play? I'm sure somebody out there wants to be the next female playwright. So what is the process of writing a play? I'm interested in knowing.
Sure. There are 2 different processes that I take. So
okay.
The first one is if it's a play that I'm just writing on my own because I like the subject or just interested in it. And you can go ahead and cut me into these 2. Right?
Y'all know I'm greedy, okay?
No, you're fine.
I'll be over here getting to it.
Because clearly, who else is going to eat the bread?
Oh, you going to take this with you?
Oh, I'm sure I'm going to take it. People who will appreciate this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So very typically, if it's just something that sticks with me, if it's just something that I am just kind of bobbling around in my head, like for example, one of the plays that I've just finished a draft of, I was watching all the Black Lives Matter things and everything that was happening, and I just kept thinking, what happens to the people who become a hashtag, and what happens to their spirits, and how do their spirits actually rest? And so I started writing a play.
You know what? Hold on. Pause up there. It reminds me of a friend of mine had a post around the time of forgot who it was. It was a few years ago, and it said, "I am more than just a hashtag." Yeah,
absolutely.
And it was around. I forgot which one it was, but it was around one of the police, not police killing, but the police killings. One of the more popularized ones. Right. I forgot which time it was, but go ahead. I'm sorry. It was a black man. So
Rashad? Was it Rashad? The Wendy's? Were they killed at Wendy's?
It was like in July of 2016.
Oh, 16.
Oh, Jesus.
Who was that?
Was
that Minnesota? July, August, Minnesota?
I should know this because I know a lot of the dates. I just can't remember right off.
Yeah, me either. I can't remember either.
Because I know like Trayvon happened in the summer, but Trayvon has been way longer than
Yeah, no.
Unfortunately, there's so many that have happened.
What's his name? Fidel Castile?
Yes.
I think it was
Yeah,
around
it might
that
have
time.
been his. Yeah, because his did happen around the summertime.
Yeah, and so a friend of mine, black man, had a post holding up a sign that says, "I am more than just a hashtag." But I'm sorry, go ahead. It made me think of that when you said that. Go ahead. Yeah, what happens to them after once they become a hashtag?
Absolutely, but it's still the same question. It's like how does their own spirit heal? Because I feel like your spirit gets called up so much around the unrest, and it's always around a demonstration of a trauma. It's really hard. Like how do they get a chance to? Because we're like, oh, rest in peace, but can they rest in peace if we're constantly calling them up? And how do they do that? So I just kind of interrogate what it would be for some souls to try to be together and try to live past who they are and how do they, get a chance to rest. And so for me, in a case like that, I just kind of started doing a lot of research on. I did a little bit of research on some of the people who became hashtags and just kind of their stories. But then I also started doing I did that process. I did a lot more character development first, thinking about how people could kind of fit together, and then tried to find a story within it. And so the story is actually about really is more about a young woman who is someone who's supposed to help guide the spirits to their peace. And someone has come in, and so she has to decide whether or not she's going to actually take this calling and helping them navigate that house.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So for them, it just came from like an idea, and I just kind of started germinating it and putting it together, and just kind of writing some dialogue, writing some monologues, just trying to kind of get through the story, and actually have a group of people who I'm working with to kind of read it and develop it. Developing meaning like just give me feedback on it, see how the story is making sense. If it's not making sense, how we go about it, that sort of thing.
Do you ever wish to turn any of your plays into like movies?
Oh yeah, the film is coming next. Actually, film and TV is coming next.
Issa, Ava, that's a good story. Okay, y'all don't take it from her, but call her up.
It's already copywritten. So.
There you go. So call her up, hit her up, and let's make it happen, okay? Because Issa and Ava are going to run across this.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
they are. Yes.
Let's get that done. Yeah. That sounds like a wonderful. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful story.
Oh, thank you.
I like that. What made you come up? Well, you said what made you come up with that, but it's like, where did your mind like?
I
really like that, Amina.
Yeah, it's also that idea of because Afrofuturism is really big right now, but I also think that in us thinking so much about future, we miss what happens in maybe parallel worlds, and kind of thinking more of like, okay, so if this is happening in modern times, what else is happening, and what else is the larger story, maybe even around it or perspective we hadn't seen. And so for me, I'm also just kind of in a place where I'm like, I've had stories of Black trauma, and I'm really trying my best to write more plays about healing, joy, and Black play. I want to write plays that deal with our playfulness and our leisure. Like, I may write a show at some point about like, oh, we're going to be in a kitchen and we're going to, see like how fun it would be to like actually write a play where someone is actually learning to cook in the middle of the play and the audience is invited on to learn. You know what I mean? So things like that, because otherwise we get kind of stuck in the same trope over and over again. It's like every play you go to, and it's like, can Black people be beyond their trauma? Absolutely. We have full lives. We're making lemon bread. We're eating it in the kitchen. She's further along than I am, but I'm gonna catch up. Just FYI.
You did good.
Yeah. But I think that's part of it. Is just that, and also the desire to say, okay, so if I want to engage healing, then I also want to make sure it's not just an individual healing, but the community. Can also be a part of that space. And so it's like, how do you imagine your healing, and what do you have that you can offer that kind of adds to the imagination pot and that healing pot, so we can all kind of get through it together. So it's just kind of a way.
That's wonderful. That's nice. I love that.
Thank you. So,
really love that. Well, I look forward to seeing that.
Thank you. I'll keep you posted.
Yes, please do. I look forward.
Website, so.
Yes, I look forward to seeing that. I really like that.
Thank you.
Well, Lady Loves Her Pen. Please go check it out. Stay connected so that we can support. This isn't just a show just for, Black people. However, we are of the Black community. And so I'm speaking to others who are a part of the Black community, people who are friends and family with the Black community. we can all support one another. So go and support this Black woman. So we have more Black women plays on stage, more Black women behind the pen or behind the camera or wherever on the movie screen. Like, just go support, okay? Because the concepts you heard are wonderful. So, yes, go support. Well, thank you, Amina.
Thank you, Keedra.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me into the kitchen. We got a clank clank.
We do have a clink, clink.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, catch us next Tuesday for another episode of Inside Keedra's Kitchen. I am so happy that you decided to join me, and I will see you next week. Bye.